Yo, giggity YouTube! Oh my goodness. It has been more than minutes. It's been minutes on minutes, but we are back
minutes.
Battle again. Looking at your boy, it's Uncle Jim.
There he is, Uncle Jim, Superman St. Louis. Let's go.
Boom, 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 and bing bong. Look to your left. It is your boy out on them Los Angelinos streets, hoodie intact and always ready to attack. It's your boy, Mr. Curtis,
Curtis Magic, the Obi-Wan of YouTube. Let's go.
Which is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a minute since we have been on your airwaves.
Yeah.
We appreciate the fact that some of you are tuning in right away to jump back in and you're curious. You're like, what is he talking about? Yeah. But as you can probably tell in the description and according to the title and the thumbnail, we're going to shift a little bit because we're still going to talk about things that we enjoy.
Yeah.
Obviously, from time to time, we're thinking about and talking about and seriously researching going live.
Yeah.
And so that'll be an opportunity for us to engage and interact with you guys on a regular basis.
True.
Getting back to some reaction stuff, we hope to get back to that at some point. But what we wanted to do was shift a little bit. As we've told you time and again, Curtis and I's background is we met out in La La Land when I was living out there, chasing the dream of being on these big screens and little screens. Got to do it a little bit here and there. Yeah. And that's really where our love is. Our passion started not even before that in the world of improvised comedy. And so we thought, let's pick different, like, interesting television shows or films that we love, and we just break them down and talk about them and look at the different aspects of them that we were drawn to, and criticize maybe a little bit. I don't know,
if need be. And then Murderville came along, which was about the most on the nose thing that we could talk about because
the marriage of improv,
and it's got all the classic TV hijinks.
What's your impressions? What are your first impressions right off the bat?
Well, I mean, we got Conan in episode 1, which is brilliant. A joy for me. But you know what? Let me ask quick aside though. Do we want to run the intro graphic? Do we want to do that for the sake of on our, like how we used to do on our videos with the music and everything?
Yeah, did we not do that?
We could do it right now. We just cut to it right now.
Because we would just wait, how would we set that up? I don't even remember anymore.
This should all stay, by the way. We should not edit this out. It should be, we used to just go used to be like in 3, 2, 1 or something, and we just be like, let's get into it, and you'd be like in 3, 2, 1. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's do
that.
Let's try that.
I serious. Let's not edit this. All right.
This is
it's
all
raw,
Curtis.
Guys. It's raw.
This is all Curtis. I totally forgot that this is how this worked because it's been so long. But you know what?
Wow.
Now we will have that transition where our music will kick in. Drop right now. So 3, 2, 1. Boom. Curtis, how did you feel about episode 1? First of all, what was your impressions of the overarching theme behind the show?
Yeah. So the whole, fair enough. Love the improv bit. Love that it's sort of the game is sort of like, I don't know if there's a better way to say this, but we in improv circles, we used to say you pimp somebody out. Like you're right. So there's somebody who's more in the know than the other person.
Right.
Like that is not to discredit the extent to which Will Arnett improvises, because we got to talk about that.
Well, sure. Oh yeah, no question, no doubt.
But I love the game. I love the premise of there's that guest who's sort of more on the spot, more like what's going on, and just like not unlike Michael Douglas's The Game from way back, where somebody's just like, what is happening? Everybody else is in on it, but that one person is just like
deep
cut.
from
aging myself.
from the annals of history.
Yeah.
And when Curtis is talking about the game, ultimately, whenever we're doing an improv scene, there is a thematic idea, a game. You're chasing a singular thought that is being set up by your partner, and you try and catch on to it as quickly as possible. And that is why you can watch a long form improv show, which can usually last anywhere from 25 to 30 minutes. And you will see that theme run through the whole thing, because everybody quickly tries to figure out, oh, what are we trying to accomplish here? And that is what they call the game.
Yeah.
That's one version of it. So
yeah, it's kind of just a way of thinking about the world. You're figuring out the world that exists in the space of the improvised performance that maybe doesn't exist that way in real life.
In real life,
different rules to it.
It's like painting the backdrop, telling us where we are, what's our relationship to each other, and then trying to figure out what is our objective by the end of the scene.
And so you'll see certain patterns. So like just to piggyback off of what you're saying, like one classic example of like a game, maybe a game within a game with this episode, was how Will Arnett kept pimping Conan out to eat spicy foods and like eat stuff just in general, just like eat, really, which is a really fun thing to do.
Right.
But usually you don't have props in improv. So to have like real actual edible food was a fun thing. Be like, hey, you gotta have more hot sauce on there, or whatever. That was super fun.
If you're familiar with the episode, so I definitely got to check it out, because we're going to be spoiling it all over. But the idea there is, he sees something that's not necessarily related to the main theme, but an opportunity to create this, the pimping out concept, which is the idea of essentially going, hey, you're going to present something to your partner, and what do we say? And we talked about this time and again in the pod, on the channel, which is the yes and concept. And so in that state, here he is pouring this hot sauce. Conan could have rejected it. He could have pushed it off the table. He could have said, I'm not going to do it. He could look like he was physically in pain. That didn't look manufactured by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
And yet he just kept doing it. And that's saying yes and. It can be audibly, or it can be through some kind of action. So it starts out, we meet the crew, we're in the police station. We learn quickly that there's going to be a recurring relationship between the sergeant and Mr. What is his name? Harry Seattle. What a brilliant name. I love improv names. I guarantee that was something he just came up with off the he just said it once and we're not, and they're like, that's what he's gonna be. So they're married, and then they move in, and then you see Conan come in. And it's interesting because at that point you notice, like, he's got no information. Like, even no information. He probably maybe has seen the set, maybe.
Even to the point where he's Conan O'Brien on the chat, and that's another interesting thing. Where usually, like, you're playing a character in an improvised setting, but that's what makes the twist on this is that again, that the nature of this dynamic is not one where it's partners like building brick by brick, building a scene like you would normally have in improv. It's one person has an upper hand, and the fun is watching the other person who is just trying to like catch up. And in some ways is the punchline of some jokes and things like that.
Well, and the beauty of it too is I like the fact that, Will and the rest of the crowd having scripts, but also recognizing that they have to improvise along with Conan.
Yeah, right.
To get anywhere. So they also have to be everybody on this show, talented improvisers, because you got to know that even, okay, for instance, the waitress, she rolled with the punches with the hot sauce.
Right. Yeah.
And, kind of added her own little pieces in there.
Right. It's really brilliant. It's really, and from Will Arnett to the supporting cast, I think they're all pretty brilliant, because it's not so easy to that marriage of scripted and unscripted is challenging. You have to be like you're saying, you're just going along with the dialogue, with the props, stuff like that. Right. And at some point you've got to find a way in to drop your bomb, which you have sort of like to further the plot along and to get the information out, because you're a suspect in this murder.
Right. And you have to be able to recognize that fine line between let's keep beating this joke, or moving on. Like, for instance, when they go into Terry's office at the beginning, and he says, "This is my former partner." First of all, cobwebs, brilliant. Burrito, a breakfast burrito that's been there for a year or however long she's been dead. And then, first of all, Jennifer Aniston, kudos, hats off. Yeah. Jen Aniston being willing to,
and we can only hope that she makes it, there's a resurrection at some
point,
like
a ghost or something at some point.
Yeah.
And so to your point though, right? So Conan sees an opportunity when they allude to it has nothing to do with the movement towards the solving the crime, but he alludes to the desk, and Conan goes, you can feed a rabbit. Like it didn't have to die. And that to me is just picking up on the sensibility, like, hey, let's have fun with the space that we're in, which is really great.
And you know what? I'm not surprised at Conan's ability to just like enter into that space and have the sort of mastery of presence to be able to go like, yeah, I can contribute to this. Like I can definitely crack jokes about some of the things going on here. It's really in his wheelhouse. However, I looked up Will Arnett, and the community can help about this if somebody that has information that I don't. I did not see any improv training for Will Arnett when I looked at it. I was looking into it, trying to figure out did he go to any of the schools, and I couldn't find anything.
I listened to the it's called the Smartless podcast, which is Will Arnett and Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes.
Smart.
And it's a brilliant podcast. If you get a chance, you should check it out. But I'm fairly confident that he and Amy,
did they both do UCB?
They did UCB, or he hung around. I think he's had some experience with it. I don't know that he went through an entire program and graduated. I feel like he was around it.
Yeah.
I know he was definitely familiar with it, but maybe he hasn't had any formal training.
Regardless, though, I thought he killed it. I thought, in general, he was super fun. He's just a great actor. He's a super funny guy.
Oh yeah.
There were moments though too where I was just like, it's such the reaction to the guy doing magic, reacting to just being so blown away,
just so over the top.
It was so good. It's not easy to make Conan O'Brien genuinely laugh, genuinely break. And he was really busting him up.
Which again, I'm also gonna just jump in and say I loved that the cast broke at times.
Yeah,
which is again a testament to the person who's doing the improvising. If you can say something that's so kind of because I'll tell you, if it was me, I've been in this situation. I'm sure Curtis has been in this where you've been on an improv stage and somebody does something kind of hack and they want it to be funny and it's just not funny. And it doesn't land.
Right. No.
And you're just kind of like, well, I got to save this or move it on to the next spot. Whereas when you look at this, everything he did was really, really sharp. And personally, one of my all-time favorite scenes in this episode was him and the little girl, where she's like, "Can you explain?" He just goes right into the clinical definition of death. Well, she was cut through the skin and the bone, and the sinew,
without skipping a beat. Yeah, very, very intuitive. And then
comedy piece.
Jumping back to Will, he from going all the way back to at least Arrested Development,
yes,
that he has this really impressive capacity to be dealing in terms of the concepts that are absurd while being super grounded.
Absolutely,
really convincing, he's really moved and affected by these things that are completely ridiculous, which is really fun.
It's they was he the one that broke him with the Humpty Dumpty line? It's a classic case of Humpty Dumpty. And the beauty of Will is that gravitas, the depth of the voice and all of those things, it just adds to how brilliant.
Yeah.
I also thought, Conan is just his ability to just roll with the punches when they're in with the moms group, and he made the one mom completely break.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was the name or what it was. It's escaping me the moment where he made her turn and have to laugh. And I just love it because it means that they're there, they're playing, they're engaged. It's just it's why we love comedy and improv for sure.
And I can only project here, right? But you have to and some of these people you recognize, some of the supporting cast you recognize, go, oh yeah, they did that. But that means as they're definitely like tapping into some incredibly talented people. It shows because of their comfort level, like we already discussed, improvising and moving between in and out of scripted and non-scripted.
Right.
And yet it's a testament to the likes of Conan O'Brien, like decades of comedy, that to be in his presence. Right. And then he's like one of the kings of straight face too. When he wants to, he's pretty unbreakable. Absolutely. So to be in his sphere, has to have just been like, it had to have been kind of a master class for some of these other improvisers on camera, I would think.
Yeah, I think it was a really fun formula. And to me, the enjoyment is in, can you get knocked off? How do you, who have no information at all, come in here and kind of stay in the groove? Your goal as the guest is to try and make it seem like you were there through rehearsals and the writing of this thing. Yeah. And that's where I'm going to be probably the most tickled as we go through the series. So,
I agree. Yeah.
But I would give it an absolute, I mean, I don't know if we're going to rate it 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It was really great. It's the first episode. So I just,
it's really strong. Really
strong. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. And we're going to do this from now on, trying to, engage with some other, things that we really enjoy. Hopefully you guys will rock with us. We understand that this may not be for everyone, but that's okay. Again, periodically, we're going to get back into the reacting thing too, maybe do some stuff on the live, but we really would love to get into talking and turning this more into kind of an interactive show. And hopefully when we do the lives, you guys can jump in, give us suggestions and things of that nature. If there's other shows maybe you want us to check out down the line after we get through this season, that'd be something that we're open to as well. So appreciate you, love you, thank you so much for letting us invade your space once again. And of course, as we always say, let's give it up for the
Yo, I'ma run this, kid. Shouts out to Curtis Magic and Uncle Jizz. Yeah, when I do my lyrics, dog, I'm repping for the faction. Hit them up online for the fly-ass reactions. Yeah, out to him, I be giving mad love. Yo, shout to Uncle Jizz, I'ma give you the plug.